Probably heard this a lot, that the left has nothing to offer men, which is a reason, a talking point, that a lot of men who claim to previously have been liberal or left-leaning, the reason they give for choosing to abandon the left and instead join the right and become conservative. But let me talk about the stupidity of this. Whenever these men list the reasons why they decided to abandon the left and become right-wing, they never list anything substantive, anything to do with like specific policies that the left has adopted, anything to do with campaign promises being broken, nothing to do with actual policy.
You sure about that, bruh? Y'all campaigned for being anti-war during the Obama administration. What happened? Well, we didn't technically declare new wars, but we essentially did the same thing Donald Trump is currently doing in Iran. Oh, and we overthrew a democratically elected president in Ukraine because he wanted to get closer with Russia and move away from NATO. And that's why we have a war in Ukraine now. And most of you still can't even admit that Obama was literally just George Bush in a darker shade and more coherent speech.
Instead, when you ask them, why did you leave the left? They basically just list a bunch of dumb grievances. Oh, the left blames men for everything. The left does not address the male loneliness epidemic.
The left are literally the only ones talking about the male loneliness epidemic. You don't hear right-wingers talking about it. You don't hear men talking about it. It's primarily leftist and men-hating women. And the reality is, women are just as lonely as men right now. They're just getting laid way more. Meanwhile, most men, when you actually listen to what they say about dating, they don't want to invest in it anymore because they don't get anything out of it. Women want equal rights, power, and privilege, but they don't want equal responsibility, expectations, or consequences. Don't believe me? Ask the average woman if she's willing to go 50-50 on a date or in a relationship. No, she still expects men to be the provider, but God forbid anybody suggests she should be at home cooking and cleaning like a traditional woman. Women seriously expect traditional treatment from men, but they don't want to be traditional in the way they treat men. Funny. Men have literally chosen to be lonely instead of in a relationship they are not valued at all.
To vote away the rights of your fellow Americans, to strip marginalized communities of their rights, and vote a fascist into office because your feelings got hurt.
You talk as if you were offering anybody anything to begin with. What rights, other than maybe abortion, were stripped away from women? I'm not even a Trump supporter. I never supported the guy. I never liked the guy. But I can understand the pro-life argument. The reason the abortion argument is so intense is because neither side is taking a negative position that's pro-life and pro-choice. These are affirmative positions. It's very difficult to unpack it when both are supporting something completely different. The left just actively refuses to engage in nuanced conversations about this matter. Meanwhile, most of the states that do have abortion bans already make exceptions for cases of rape, incest, or teen pregnancy, which are the three biggest issues that the left keeps bringing up why abortion should be legal. Looks like the right agrees with you on that already, and they've acted accordingly when passing most of these laws. So other than abortion, what laws are being passed to take away rights from others? No-fault divorce? That's not taking rights away. You can still file for divorce. You just have to say why you're leaving. That's why it's called no-fault divorce. You can't just say, well, I got bored and I'm not going to say why I'm leaving. Give me 50-50. You want 50-50, you bring 50-50. You don't get to marry for money and then leave when you get bored anymore. Talking about how child custody is finally becoming a mainstream issue and more states are adopting 50-50 standards with no guaranteed child support? That's not taking away rights. That's giving rights where they were lacking. There are policies that have been in place that reinforce traditional gender roles against men, but the policies that reinforce traditional gender roles against women have been abolished long ago. And only one side of the political aisle is trying to assist men in repealing these policies and letting them have more autonomy in their relationships, in their marriages, in the case of divorce, in the case of child custody, and it's not the left doing it. As Thomas Sowell said, you cannot subsidize irresponsible behavior and expect people to behave responsibly. Guess what? When it came to marriage and child custody, the government has been forcing men to subsidize irresponsible women since at least the 1970s. And it's kind of funny because there is a very good argument to be made that it was specifically designed this way to break up the black family, and many have already argued that. Just look at how Title 4D was added to the Social Security Act around the same time Gloria Steinem was infiltrating black feminist organizations and pitting them against black men. Now, to be clear, all these issues are not on the federal level, so there's very little Donald Trump is doing to actually help these issues. These are state-by-state issues. These policies are set on the state level for the state level. And it is state-level politicians that are changing it to assist men. So if you want to point fingers at Donald Trump being a fascist, go right ahead, because he's a non-factor in this discussion.
What's funnier is a big reason these right-wing nutjobs give for trying to repeal the 19th Amendment that allows women to vote. The reason they always give is that, women are too emotional.
Hold on a minute, was this you literally just a couple of seconds earlier?
Whenever these men list the reasons why they decided to abandon the left and become right-wing, they never list anything substantive, anything to do with specific policies that the left has adopted.
So, who's actually suggested repealing the 19th Amendment other than people rage baiting on the internet? Because to my knowledge, nobody has made any such proposition on the House floor whatsoever. For someone who's trying to say that leftists are not overly emotional, right-wingers are, you're taking right-wing rage bait very seriously. Literally nobody is actually trying to remove the 19th Amendment. They're just saying it to get under your skin, and it's working. So they're going to keep saying it. And if your whole argument is going to be, well, Democrats aren't left-wing, they're not leftist. Yes, they are. Well, they would be considered right-winged in the rest of the world. No, they wouldn't. Canada, Europe, Latin America, they all have sizable conservative populations relatively comparable to the US. Europe isn't as far left as you think it is. That's just the New World degenerative theory talking. And the reality is, most of these young men aren't necessarily switching over to the Conservative Party. They're just realizing politics is a pain in the ass and they don't want to deal with it anymore, and therefore leaving it behind. If anything, they're becoming moderate and quiet and just leaving active involvement in politics altogether. When you actually look at the population of people who are eligible to vote, what you'll notice is most people aren't even registered to vote. And of those that are, most of them are not registered with any party. So, no, it's not that people are switching over to become conservative, it's that the left offers so fucking little that the right looks better by comparison. You can scream fascist all the livelong day. If you have nothing to offer and they're actually acknowledging the issues, they have a winning strategy and you don't. It's not about solidifying the base you have. It's about winning over the moderates on the fence. And y'all actively hate doing that. Y'all attack moderates significantly more than the right does. It's not so much that we have a large growing population of men abandoning the left and moving right. It's that the right knows how to talk to people in the middle, and you just attack them and call them fence sitters. That's what's actually going on.